this girl who turned out to be a friend of me of mine. When we were in high school, she was a cousin of one of my frenemies as well. Me and this girl had kind of like, it wasn't really any hate, but she secretly did try to compete with me. She could sing, and she used to want to have singing battles with me to try to act like she could sing better than me. And I used to tell myself, like, it's no competition, honey. It doesn't matter how you try to compete yourself with me. If I don't get on a track and race you, it's no competition. My voice is different. You can't compare with me. But, anyways, so when it was time to, like, when we would play 31, which is like when you play fight for 31 seconds, I'm a lion, so like being small does nothing because people know I have inner strength. And because she was a big girl, nobody used to want to fight her. And so I would fight her because like I'll get in there with you. And we always was sticking with each other. It was never like we were afraid of each other, but she still had like a secret competition energy behind her when it came to me. That's why she always wanted to play competitive games, right? So her cousin used to always frown up, used to always like look like she wasn't a fan of me. And you know how you have people who dislike you who you don't even know? It's because they're karmics from past lifetimes and they know who you are because they've been stalking and they're obsessed with you whole time. You don't care who these people are, don't care why their nose is tuned up, just all together, right? And it's people who feel like at the time they thought they had more materialistic things than me. Whole time I was Hannah Montana. If you know, then you know. But anyways, so one particular day, and this went on for years, by the way, like her not talking to me. So maybe like around like her last year of school, she eventually decided to come around and stay around with her cousin because when she would come around, she would be mostly quiet. This particular time, she came around and she sat beside me, was being friendly. So this is what she was starting to do. She was starting to befriend me to reveal her true motives. So she was a copycat. She was someone who didn't like me because she was jealous of me and envious of me. But because I didn't feed her beef, she then had to try to become my friend to try to plot a narrative for her to fall out with me. That's another thing that a lot of karmic females will also do. Like, imagine being that pathetic that you would pretend to be a girl's friend just to try to steal her life. And baby, you're not the blueprint. They be trying to copy and they're failing miserably. Half of these people that try to copy can't even be who they're trying to copy out loud, and like they can't even do it in peace. Anyways, so she ends up like becoming like a cool person, So I thought, and I told her, like, I always felt like you didn't like me. And then she was like, yeah, I didn't, but we didn't ever really have no beef. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm knowing. So, anyways, fast forward, and she was older than me. I graduated high school when I was 16, by the way. So that just should tell you how young I was at this time before any like jumps. But anyways, so come down to fast forward, moving on years, I realized that she was like a monitoring spirit. So you have to be mindful of friends who want to be your friend, want to be in your life, but they're not really like showing up for you. They're only showing up enough to try to portray like they're there for you, but also they're withholding information behind your back. Also, they're cool with people that they know don't like you. You just have to be mindful of that type of stuff. And I was noticing like every time I would invite her to something or plan a birthday party or plan a special event and want her to come, she would act like she was coming, and then a few days before she would come with an excuse. And so I was just like, okay, that's definitely a monitoring spirit because she don't have any intentions of really being active in my life. She just wants to hold on to me to still be in my story, whether it's so she can get credit for being next to me or if it's so she can try to take the credit and apply it to herself for her life. But anyways, so come time to school is over with, we're out of school, we still cool, whatever case may be. I noticed that when I would tell her certain things I had going on, it would fail. Like, and it'll be going good up until the day of. Like, this one time, I got a job at Amazon, And I did a story time on how I went through with everything, and then the day it was time for them to pass our IDs, it was like three of us that they were saying they didn't have any record that we had the job. Mind you, we don't went to numerous testings. We don't went to the site. We don't went and picked up our uniform. We literally have on the outfit. I'm like, how do you think I got these shoes? Because you have to order certain things from certain sites that they give you. It's not like, oh, they tell you go to Walmart and get black and khakis. Like, it wasn't like that. So I was like, what? Like, even when we fill in the application, they take you have to show up to a certain location. But the point that I'm trying to make is that every time I was telling her something, and I was actually on the phone with her when I was on the way to Amazon for my first day of work. And when I came out, Spirit was like, she did negative energy towards you so that you could have delays, because she didn't want you to outshine her. She didn't like the fact that you was on your shit, because I never had a job before I graduated high school. Them girls was slaving in stores, working 9 to 5s. I'm a princess. I was not. So when I joined the military, I got a second job at Walmart, and then, like I said, I tried to get a job at Amazon. Outside of that, I have my own businesses and things like that. I just wanted to see what that type of feel was like. It was something fun to do, and it was like an extra source of income. But the fact of the matter is, like, I noticed every time that I would have something leading up, it would crumble. Also, another thing she did was when it was time for my birthday, she waited to like a week before to tell me she was not going to go on the trip. Also, when she got engaged, I had told her, like, the guy that she got engaged to, he was not good for her. I didn't have to tell her, she already had knew. But I just told her, like, don't settle and don't lower yourself for him. She wanted a wedding. He married her in a courthouse and made her stop talking to me. So she ended up texting me and saying, we can't be friends anymore, and she ghosted me. And I replied, I'm so disappointed in you, but I noticed that I was blocked. And I just knew that she knew she was caught. Because the thing I like to do is that I like for people to do as much as they can, to the point to where it gets unrecognizable, to the point to where they can't hide it, to the point to where their guilt, it just sits there. Because when you tell people everything that you notice they're doing, they're going to try to change up the plan. They're going to try to act like you're crazy. Then that's when they're going to try to create the beef that they wanted to start in the very beginning, but you never fed it any energy. It's going to be so many ways they're going to try to flip it on you. And I was like, just let her do this shit as long as she can. Like, use the enemy as your footstool is what I was doing. Let her do this as long as she can, and she gonna get to the point to where she's gonna know that she's done it so much, that you know so much, she's not even gonna be able to show back up in your face. And that's exactly what happened. But the moral of the story is that if a person didn't like you then, they don't like you now. There was another girl who used to bully me, and I ended up fighting her, and I won. And years later after that, one of my friends were in a situation, who I thought was my friend. She was a friend of me as well, but she was about to get jumped. And when I showed up to the scene, the girl who I beat up years ago was there, and she was in fighting attire. Now, she was talking to me like she was cool, and she was just trying to make sure nobody got jumped. But I found out a few months later that she actually showed up there to fight me. Like, she was like, if she jump in, I'ma fight her. Whole time I didn't even know this girl was still holding on to a grudge. Like, you cannot trust frenemies. If they didn't like you then, they don't like you now. Some people like to come back around trying to finish out the job because they failed the first time. But one thing I learned throughout my life is that if a person is not doing you right, but they want to hold on to you, it's not for a positive reason. Like, it's never for a positive reason.